and let us all do we can to build a better future.
You got a story for the people. What's going on?
Okay, so I have, as always, couple updates with COVID and the like, and I actually have a bonus article that I threw in the show notes. If you look in the description, you can check it out, which is talking about life expectancy being lowered because of the virus by about a year. Interesting topic. Check it out on your own time if you want, but I thought this was a very interesting one that we've heard a little bit about, but it seems that there's more information on right now. And that is COVID is destroying people's lungs more than a heavy smoker. So,
oh boy,
it's and we have, and once we're ready for it, I have an image that'll be in this article that I want to show you what this looks like, because it is kind of scary, and it makes us all think about how many people that get COVID. This is another call for Medicare for All, by the way, how it's going to affect people in their lives. So,
my goodness,
a Texas trauma surgeon says that it's rare that X-rays from any excuse me, of her COVID-19 patients come back without dense scarring. The doctor posted that COVID lungs look worse than any type of terrible smoker's lungs we've ever seen, and they collapse and they clot off, and the shortness of breath lingers on and on and on. Everyone's so worried about the mortality thing, and it's terrible and it's awful, she told the CBS Dallas-Fort Worth. But man, for all the survivors and the people who have tested positive, this is going to be a problem. She says patients who have had COVID-19 symptoms show a severe X-ray every time, and those who were asymptomatic show a severe chest X-ray 70 to 80% of the time. In X-ray photos of a normal lung, which I think we can scroll down to right now so that we can see just there it is visually what we're talking about.
Yeah, there we go.
So you can see on the left is a normal person's lungs, where you can see the air inside the lungs. Then you can see in the middle a smoker's lungs, and you can see on the right just what looks like a mesh of bone almost, and that's from all the scar tissue and everything in the lungs, which is dramatically cutting down on people's respiratory activity. So in X-ray photos of a normal lung, a smoker's lung, and a COVID-19 lung that she shared with CBS, healthy lungs are clean with lots of black, which is mainly air. With smoker's lungs, white lines are indications of scarring and congestion, while COVID lung is filled with white. You either see that a lot of white, dense scarring, or you'll see it throughout the entire lung, even if you're not feeling problems now. The fact that's on your chest X-ray is it is indicative that you are possibly having problems later on, which again is why we need Medicare for All, because this is just going to explode the cost of, healthcare when a lot of people start developing really bad symptoms and complications from this in a couple of years or right now. So Dr. Amish Dadlja, excuse me, an infectious disease expert and senior scholar at Johns Hopkins University Bloomberg School of Public Health, told CBS that some patients with severe COVID-19 could feel the impact for years to come. When someone recovers from pneumonia, it's a bacterial pneumonia or viral, it's going to take some time for the chest X-ray to improve. Chest X-rays lag your clinical improvement, so you may be better, but your chest X-ray still looks bad. And we know that people with COVID-19 can get severe pneumonia, and some of the pneumonia will lead to damage to the lungs that will take time to heal, and some of it may be permanent, which is not good. So if you don't know what a lung looks like, it is like a lot of little pockets where the actual oxygen interacts with the body and the carbon dioxide, and then it gets filtered out. So you have a lot of these. In fact, if I remember correctly, if you took all the surface area of a normal pair of adult lungs and you flattened it out, it would be about as large as a tennis court. Not a small area. And so you don't want those to get scarred. It's really bad. So he said potential long-term health consequences are another reason people should take the warning about the disease seriously, and I'll also agree and say, and why we should really pass Medicare for All, because a lot of people have already contacted this, and they're already going to need treatment that they're not going to be able to afford otherwise, because you know that this is like the classic, hey, it's a new treatment, we just developed it, we have the patent, pay up. So this is not something you can blow off. This isn't something, because even if you survive, you may be left with some complications that make it very hard. So there's going to be a whole new class of things that happen. This is gonna change people's lives. This is going to change millions of people's lives. And already, if you check the other article after the show, I put in the show notes, you'll see it. It's already lowered the life expectancy by about 1.5 years
Yeah.
by how many people are dying. So if you've gotten it, be careful, be conscientious about what's happening in your health, because we don't know. We just know it's going to be expensive.
All right. So, look, wear a mask, wash your hands, be safe. I mean, I don't know what else to say. All I know is that right now here in the United States, 70,000 Americans die every year because of lack of health insurance. 500,000 go medical bankrupt, file for medical bankruptcy in this country. And the sad fact is that our government is treating this as normal. And we have a president now, no longer Trump, but we have Joe Biden, who said not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times during his general election cycle, especially when it was going up, when it was him versus Trump, that he would veto Medicare for all. So to all those vote blue, no matter who people who told people out of fear, hey, you got to hold your nose, and we hold Biden's feet to the fire, I say, why can't we have Medicare for all? Is it one big conspiracy? I mean, out of the blue, that other countries are able to at least have single-payer health care?
We can't afford it. We're not rich like most of the other way not as rich as us nations.
Yeah, so these other countries have figured it out, but yet we don't. And when we asked for forced to vote, our 15 progressive congressmen and women that were on the forced to vote petition chose not to listen to us. And there were only 5 Democrats. Granted, 3 voted for the Republican speaker, and the other 2 just still remained present. They chose not to vote at all. They had the courage to at least do something and step out of party line. And yet, what did the progressives in Congress get in return? I don't know what kind of backroom deal they got, but maybe the backroom deal, and maybe Jimmy Dore's right. Maybe at this point, I have to say, maybe Jimmy Dore is right. Maybe the backroom deal was that they never bring up Medicare for all again, because on Twitter, they call it healthcare. They're not talking about Medicare for all. Where's Medicare for all? AOC, how come we can't get Medicare for all? DSA, you guys have a plan in your plan of fighting for forced to vote. I mean, you guys came up with it. It took a pothead comedian from Chicago to call you guys out on it. I mean, in National Nurses United, why aren't you? Yo, if you guys are as strong as you say you are, why are you so goddamn quiet? You had a chance, and don't worry. Look, Michael Madigan has just lost a lot of power. He's been the longest Speaker of the House in any state in U.S. history. Yet he's no longer the man in charge anymore. Yeah, his legacy will still remain, but you couldn't do that towards Nancy, who's 80 years old and doesn't even care what's going to happen to the next generation. I mean, to those 15 progressive congressmen and women, starting with you, AOC. I mean, I'm sorry if my tone isn't polite enough, but
it's violent, kid.
I mean, but
definitely violent.
But I mean, was it really that impossible to really try and push the initiative for forced to vote? It would shine a light on how cruel some of your colleagues are at the height of a pandemic. You Justice Democrats, DSA, Our Revolution, you could use that as ammunition and fuel for the 2022 midterm election cycle. Look at all these corporate Democrats and corporate Republicans voting against health care for all. You could have used that. Medicare for all. Sorry about that. Medicare for all.
I was just...
Yeah, I mean, that would have been like gold. Yeah, you could have fought. And to all those organizations, that didn't like Jimmy Dore's tone, we know Jimmy Dore. We've spoken to him numerous times. He would have stepped aside for you. He would have been the guy screaming in the room, but your leaders and your activists, you would have been taking charge. He would have been cheerleading you guys all the way. And I don't know when you're going to get another opportunity like this, but this virus isn't going away. And even if we do defeat the virus, the fundamental problem of the fact that most Americans don't have health care in this country is a very serious issue. We need Medicare for all. That's it.